What up, people? It's your boy Chid from Unit Eagle Eye, coming to you again with a brand new video. This time, it's Eagle Eye, kind of, sort of. Yeah, it's just a mini version where I talk to you about rumours and news surrounding the Arsenal. This is more, I guess, the fallout, the aftermath, whatever you want to call it, from yesterday's match. Yesterday's disaster where Arsenal lost 3-0 to Man City. And I guess people are still getting over it. I don't think it's necessarily the manner of a defeat. It never is. It's more about the way you go down sometimes. And I did say this in my preview. You know, if we went out there and represented ourselves properly, then I think all of us as Arsenal fans had to be real enough to be able to hold our hands up and say, you know what, you did all right. You did okay. Let's start it properly now. Let's start finish our season strongly with Brighton and then move on. Keep in mind, guys, we don't have a good record against Brighton, even at home. So that's not a given. So I think most people would have taken that. But then seeing when Granit Xhaka got taken off and then Mari, who I don't think people are giving enough credit, he also played very well during the bit of the game he was on. And then Louise's disaster show, all coupled with the fact that our supposed one of 4 captains, aka the magician, the maestro, the artist known as Mesut Ozil, was I don't know, was too enamored with Fortnite to play. This, for me, is probably the thing that I spoke least about yesterday. I wanted to focus it mainly more on the fact that, obviously, the game and dissecting the game and focusing on the players of the game. And the Mesut Ozil thing has kind of more come to focus today, almost the day after, for the simple reason that, obviously, everyone reacted so, I suppose, aggressively, rightly so, to the fact that Arsenal had lost badly and we'd had someone sent off who had came on for the 3/4 of the game and just basically ruined it. Once we got over that fact, I think today has kind of been more about what are we going to do? Because yesterday probably showed the gulf of the problem that we have, coupled with the fact that we're now going through a pandemic. And by all intents and purposes, whatever we think that Arsenal are going to spend, we need to reduce our expectations drastically. This is all the messages that I'm getting is that, you know, we're not going to be in a position where we could spend anything. That Arsenal very much are trying to plan for the future as well as what has already happened. For anyone who doesn't know, Arsenal are, at the moment, for every match day revenue that they're losing out on, particularly home games they're losing out on, they're losing about £2 million per game. It's about that, something like that. And obviously, we don't know how long that this is going to continue in terms of no crowds. So let's say it continues for 10 games or so, 10 plus games or so. Arsenal are probably looking at losing somewhere in the region of £100 million when you take into account not only match day revenue, but also the TV revenue that comes from that, commercial rights that come from that. They could be losing almost as much as £100 million. So, I mean, Arsenal are definitely one of the clubs that will be highly affected by this. Not to mention the fact that they are also in a situation where, you know, they've got 2 loanees who they're trying to decide the future of. In the short term, they need them to agree to a kind of a deal that allows them to stay at the club until whenever the damn season concludes. In addition to the fact that we also have a situation in Bukayo Saka and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, where at least in one of those players, our contract has not been sent. My gut feeling about this whole thing is that they are preparing to sell Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and I'm starting to get used to it. I think I've got this idea in my head that actually that's what they plan to do. They've probably been planning it for some time. My understanding is that the favourite to take over from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is still Ousmane Edouard. That's the one that they ideally want. Hence why Edouard has not yet agreed to a new deal from Celtic, which apparently has been in their space for the last the last week or so. The new contract has been in the face. Ousmane Edouard is a bit confused, so he's just trying to take some time out to decide where he wants to go. Arsenal and Mason contingencies, and one of those contingencies is supposed to be Jonathan David. Jonathan David is obviously the Genk striker, banging in hella goals this season. I think he scored 21 goals, and I think it's something in the region of 10 assists. So we're talking about someone who, much like Ousmane Edouard, has got himself very much involved in the goals, is very tall, is meant to be very quick as well. So it's weird for someone to be that tall, to be that quick as well. And these are the players that they are most likely looking at to replace Aubameyang should they opt to sell him. But I digress because I'm talking about Aubameyang, so I'm talking about the subject at hand, and that is Mr. Mesut Ozil. Ozil is the one that they want to get rid of so badly. So something has clearly happened over the break between Mikel Arteta and Mesut Ozil, because prior to that, Mesut Ozil has started the last 10 games of Mikel Arteta, much to my dismay. And the understanding was that them two were always pretty good friends back in their playing days. I think you saw how enthusiastic Mesut Ozil was when Mikel Arteta decided to join. And he was properly sucking him off. I mean, let's be real here. But something clearly happened over this Corona break. And we suddenly went from yesterday's tweet, when Mesut Ozil was looking forward to being part of the side, to today, you see him arrogantly put out the type of tweet that he put out when Emre was in charge, something along the lines of, no matter what happens, Mesut Ozil number 10, and then added Arsenal, which is just, I just don't get it. Why is it always him? This is what I don't understand. Why is it always him? And that's why I had to put out the tweet that I put out. For me, I've been so annoyed by yesterday's performances. Before, let me just stay off social media today. But then I just thought to myself, I think I read a story or something like that. And I just put out a video and I just thought to myself, why is it, no matter what, when there is a problem, Mesut Ozil has something to do with it? Last year, you saw what happened with Emre right up until the point where Emre decided to leave. They decided to appease this guy and bring in someone that he actually likes, and he's still somehow fallen out with this guy. And for those people who say, oh, well, Chick, what are you talking about? You're making a big deal of it. He's only fallen out with 2 managers. I think we forget that Jose fell out with him at one point. I know Jose loved him, but Jose fell out with him at one point. People seem to have these frustrations with Mesut Ozil. Carlo Ancelotti could not stand Mesut Ozil during his time at Real Madrid. Why is it always him? What is the problem? Like, what is the problem? Why is it he always acts like a princess in these situations? And it's so frustrating because, you don't see me. People will say, oh, Cheek, you're just being a hater, and I'm expecting the dislikes to this video. Honestly, I could not care less. I'm at the point now with Mesut Ozil where I just want him to go. If we have to buy him out of his contract, let's find a way of doing that. I know that Arsenal board are very, very, very keen to get rid of Mesut Ozil. The last 2 transfer windows, they tried every creative thing you can think of to get Mesut Ozil out of the club. This is what I've been told. This is what I've read. They tried every creative thing you could think. They recognize that this was the legacy of the last chief exec, and they've been trying to get out of it ever since. The because we just can't afford it. We could never have afforded 350 grand a week. And it's madness that we find a player who it wouldn't even matter if it was a player that actually deserved that money. We're talking about someone who doesn't even deserve that money. He doesn't deserve this time that everyone seems to be putting into him. And for me, I'm just at the point now with Mesut Ozil where I'm just like, you know what? It's not even about trying to get the best out of him. It's now about breaking him. Let's just break him. For me, personally, if he is that much of an issue, if he's that much of a problem in the dressing room, what you do is you leave this motherfucker in the reserves, deep in the reserves. Just leave him there. What's the point? Instead of having the same discussion every single time we play a match. Oh, Mr. Ozil will be on the side. Oh, will he perform well for Mikel Arteta? Oh, will he react? It's very clear that this motherfucker will not react to people. So, get him out of the club. Make him unhappy as possible, unsettle him, and to the point where if he's prepared to take a cut price deal to fuck off, so be it. If he's prepared to take a deal that he goes to Fenerbahce, so be it. I'm done with this guy. I'm done with David Luiz. But at least David Luiz, that problem potentially solves itself. Because from my own understanding, the board, why they like David Luiz, and they do like him as a person, financially, they cannot afford to keep him. So that's why, as things stand, it's looking like David Luiz will not be an Arsenal player in the next 2 weeks. But in terms of Mesut Ozil, we still got a year more of this shit. I suppose the other flip side to this is that if you do get rid of a Mesut Ozil, then it makes an argument for keeping David Luiz a little bit stronger, in the sense that they might have not expected to have got rid of Mesut Ozil. So now that they have, they've got a little bit more free cash. They might be able to subsidize David Luiz's stay, which is not something I want either. I know the inevitable question is going to come in the chat room, so I might as well tackle it now. You had to ask me, what problem would I rather deal with next season? Mesut Ozil still being here or David Luiz still being here? Actually, it would be David Luiz I'd rather deal with. And you guys know I can't stand David Luiz. For me, I have never rated David Luiz. I was surprised at how shit he was yesterday, but not that he was capable of being that shit yesterday. That is beside the point. For me, the Mesut Ozil problem has been Arsenal's biggest problem for the last 5 years. It's very clear he's a bad apple. It's very clear that there's a huge issue there. And I'm almost at the point now with Arsenal where we may as well just rip up the canvas and start again, right? What you start doing is pin these youngsters down, and then you just, if what you want to do with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is you want to let him go and sell him, and let's just do it. Let's just scrap the fucking thing, build the team around youngsters if that's what you want to do, right? And just get on with it. For me, it's clear that they're headed in that direction. I now don't expect Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang to stay, and I don't think it necessarily has anything to do with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. I think that the club are at the point now where they just want to pull the trigger on this thing and they want to build a team of youngsters. And actually, I'm at the point as an Arsenal fan, witnessing what happened yesterday, where I shrug my shoulders and I just say, you know what, let's just do it. Because the reason I didn't go in on Mikel Arteta is one of the few things I thought he got right was he tried youngsters. The only thing is, I don't think, for example, Joe Willett, I've told you guys before, I don't think he's good enough. I personally would sell or loan him, you know? I think someone on the lines of Reece Nelson, start him maybe, see what's to come. Maybe play him in a number 10 position. I've always thought Reece potentially is more suited to a number 10 anyway. Play him as a number 10. You know, play Pepe. Hey, play Pepe as a number 10. We do not need to be over-reliant on a fortnight player, because that's all he is at the moment. All this myth that he's this magical genius, that he's this genius that opens up defenses. I'm sorry. Let's stop that. The only magic that he is performing at the moment is not turning up. Literally not turning up. Literally not on the bus, not on the train, not anywhere north of the Watford Gap. It is time for Arsenal to break Mesut Ozil. It is what it is. And I don't care if you're a Mesut Ozil fan or not. You can't be happy with the fact that now this is the second Arsenal coach in a row. This one he was actually friends with, who's now thought to himself, you know what? I don't want to even be dealing with you. And the funny thing is, anyone who looked at Mikel Arteta answering that question yesterday, the most uncomfortable he looked was when they started questioning about Mesut Ozil. You could see that Mesut Ozil situation has really taken its toll. And at this point, if you are that invested in Mikel Arteta, and I'm speaking to the Arsenal board here, you've got to help this guy. And the way you help this guy is get rid of not only Mesut Ozil, but every single bad apple. You David Luiz's. He wasn't bad yesterday, but your Squadron Mustafis. Me personally, your Granit Xhakas. You get rid of every single one of them out of this club. Your Hector Bellerins. And then just start again. Just rip up the canvas, start again. You know, I like Aubameyang. I like Aubameyang. But if you want to sell him at this point, sell him. Your Lacazettes, sell him. And then build this team again. And maybe, just maybe, moving forward, we might be about something. Because at this point, we're just treading water. I'd at least rather go backwards to go forwards. We're not even doing that. We're just treading water. We're treading water while going downstream. And that's, to me, is the worst situation to be in. So I just thought I'd have my little 2 cents. I'm not going to start talking about transfer stories today because, yes, there are a couple floating about. One of them is Bruno Fox. Bruno Fox, well, you have to say that name real carefully. Bruno Fox apparently now is being Independente. Is that their name? Who's their club? Apparently is prepared to let Bruno Fox go for as little as 2 million. Obviously, that suits Arsenal. Bear in mind, this guy is supposed to be valued at 15 million. Then last week he was valued at 7 million. But now they're so desperate for something, they're prepared to let him go for as little as 2 million. This is according to Brazilian reports. So I think those are the sort of things that are going to suit Arsenal moving forward. Maybe if there's a way that we can get any experienced defenders in, particularly if we're losing David Luiz, I think that's something that they might be looking to explore. I think Mustafi, as I said to you guys last week, he's looking to explore some options in the Bundesliga. Bundesliga is something that he's very keen on returning to Germany just to be able to ply his trade. And those are really the sort of things. And also, for some reason, Ryan Fraser is now much more on our radar. This one seems to keep going back and forth. But at the moment, there's lots of rumours going that Arsenal are really seriously investigating the possibility of going for Ryan Fraser, which at this point, I'm just like, whatever. Let's just do it. He's 26 years old. At this point, he'll be one of the senior players. I'm just in favour. Watching yesterday, I am in favour for just ripping up the sheet, starting again. Because at the moment, we are kidding ourselves if we're not even making Europa League, bro. Not like that. Not like yesterday. We're making the stupid mistakes of yesterday. So it is what it is. What do you guys think? Let me know. Leave it in the chat below. Leave it in the comments below. Just to give you an idea of what's going on this week, tomorrow I'm going to do a much longer show of this. I owe you guys a good hour of this. So I'll do a show tomorrow. Tonight, you gold and silver members will be receiving some videos. Keep an eye out for that. You'll get that 48 hours before everybody else. So make sure if you're not a member, become a member, and you'll be able to get those perks. Combat Show will be on every single Friday. That's where I do my boxing and MMA. Combat Show, the link to that is in the description below. Chick Flicks, Saturday is my day for that. I'm going to be recording all day on Saturday for Chick Flicks. You're going to see why. So keep an eye out on that. Link is in the description below. That is my movie and music review channel. And then the chopping block, we're back on Sunday. Because I owe you 2 chopping blocks. In fact, you know what? It'll make sense. You'll see. All I'm going to say is by the end of Sunday, you'll receive 2 chopping blocks. And given this week's shenanigans, neither of them will be a surprise. All right. Content. See how I spoil you guys. All right, I'm out of it for now, guys. I promise I'll do a much longer show this tomorrow. But I hope you guys are well. Please look after yourself. Have a good Thursday evening, and I'll be back again tomorrow. Take care. Deuces, people.